when you have workers who have personal prejudice, in that case, when they have a female worker, for example, working with them, then they need a higher wage to compensate the distates they had to work with that female worker. And also, when you have a customer who has a discriminatory taste, then that customer is willing to pay more to have a male worker working rather than having a female worker working. Note that, I mean, if you have personal prejudice model with workers, that might end up actually by completely segregating females and female and male workers in different departments. Although in some cases, the fact that women are working in the factory in certain departments that are cooperating with them might be also decreasing the, creating a displeasure for the male workers, especially if they think their profession is kind of invaded by the woman. And also note that, I mean, ideally, if this is the case, and most people are, it might be possible that if there are not that many women who have skill to get that job, if you have a few skilled women, you might just not take them because, the male worker pool is larger, and you might basically want to draw from that pool rather than taking from a more swallow female pool, because if you take from the female pool, unless she's really very, very productive, much more productive, the workers you take are really more productive, you are basically decreasing you basically make your male workers to demand a much higher wage, or their productivity might go down because they might think they deserve a higher wage at the able productivity. And it might be actually a vicious circle also. I mean, if you don't hire women because there are few women who are able to do that job, and you don't want to make your male workers unhappy since they are the main group that have skills to do that job. But in that case, women are not able to find that type of a job. For example, let's say women cannot be the doctor. Because when a woman becomes doctor, then male doctors are lobbying against her, and since there are not many female doctors anyway, the company would rather keep its male doctors happy and don't hire the female doctor. But with the fact that female doctors are not hired even when they are productive, as productive as males, might also prevent them to study medicine and become doctors. So you might have a sustainable discrimination, especially occupational segregation, in case of personal prejudice model with workers with personal prejudice. Similarly, when you have customers with personal prejudice, it might be possible that in some cases, you in service sector, basically, sometimes the physical appearance of the workers might be important. That's why in coffee shops in United States, especially in popular crowded locations, you see young women who are working more in those places. And also you might say, for example, white women are more in the forefront, and black women are more also working, for example, in the kitchen. Because people might be willing to see white women more than black women as waiters. And then the waitresses at the forefront. And well, of course, the customer prejudice might go all the way to people might not even want to buy goods and services produced by them, the group to which you have personal prejudice. Maybe you don't, because you don't totally trust them, or maybe you just feel displeasure. I mean, they have from the fact that they have produced those products. And when you have customer personal prejudice, in that case, again, the discrimination might continue. The company has no choice, but basically, I mean, rather, unless the woman is really very much productive, they might rather hire male worker. And again, you can also have a vicious cycle here, because finding a job is more difficult in this case. For in that particular profession, women might not study or get into that profession. Anyway, when you have when you have enough, of course, non-discriminating employers, workers, and customers, then discriminatory taste of the field is not important. But when you have satisfactory, when you have sufficient number, then it is you might there can be persistent discrimination. And when you have just employers, it might be possible that the employers with no discriminatory taste might be hiring the people with relatively who are discriminated against by other workers. Of course, those workers are available for a lower wage level, but since they are more productive than the male, the other the workers that are not discriminated, I mean the employers who hire those workers exclusively might be better off, basically. As a result, their profits will increase, and as their profits will increase, also the discrimination will basically disappear. This is the case when only the employers have the discrimination, but the customers and the workers don't have discrimination, discriminatory taste, basically. Well, can there be a way employer discrimination might also survive? One possibility is actually if employers are not acting independently. I mean, their feelings against each other is also shaped by the potential workers in each other's factories. In that case, for example, if you have many hotels, I mean the hotel with the group worker who has disproportionately more workers from discriminated group might be seen as, I mean, a hotel which is not professional because it has too many female workers or too many, let's say, black workers or Hispanic workers or Turkish workers in Germany. And in that case, I mean, even though in theory that hotel or that factory even might be more productive, basically other factories, other corporations that it is working with might be not trusting to that institution, and that mistrust might mean, I mean, the agreements, the settlements, the agreements, the contracts it's made with other institutions might be inferior, and for example, that place might not be able to find credit, and that itself might also be something that is taking that factory down. I mean, so these are some explanations. I mean, well, this is how. Well, this is basically these are some examples on how personal prejudice model might be used to explain the discrimination and how it will end up when you have well, whether the discrimination will continue in the long run or not, according to personal prejudice model. There can be actually more to discuss on the personal prejudice, but now I want to go to a different model, which is also interesting, which is statistical discrimination model. It has the same logic of the signal critique, in which actually the employers are not able to see the productivity of the individuals or test the productivity of the workers they are going to hire perfectly. And in that case, they need to make assumptions by looking at the scene characteristics of the candidates on the productivity of the workers they hire. For example, if the person got the education, they might say on average people who get the education are more productive, so I will assume that the person who has the education is more productive. That's actually very much, very rough repetition of the signaling critique. The same, it might be also true, for example, and statistically, in some cases, of course, these statistics might also be known wrong. So basically, actual productivity of two groups might not be known rightly, but just according to the rumors or social prejudices might be playing in the mind of the employer, basically, and that might be the reason that might be directing his or her decision. But it might also be perfectly possible that, for example, man on average might be more productive than woman, although there are certain women that are more productive than average man or even majority of the men. But when two people, man and woman, hire for the same job, even though, let's say, the female candidate might be more productive than the male candidate, the employer might just assume their productivity levels are equal to the average levels of their gender. In that case, automatically he will assume that man is more productive than woman just because of his gender, basically. Is this discrimination? Yes, it is discrimination. Why? Because even though the woman is more productive than man in this case, we assume she is, because of a characteristic which is not directly related to his productivity. Just because she is left in a group which is less productive on average, but for her, she didn't join that group willingly, and being part of that group is not necessarily directly affecting her productivity. Just, she happened to be in that group, and that is why she is not getting the job. So this is pretty much, again, discrimination. But that discrimination, this type of discrimination, arises kind of from the inability to test productivity of the workers directly by the companies. Overcrowding model basically assumes that the job markets for different groups are separated, maybe because their preferences are different. For example, men and women. Again, women might want more flexible jobs. If that's the case, basically, the job market of certain groups might be relatively smaller than the job markets of other groups like men, especially if traditionally they were not working before. So if suddenly more people from that group start to join to the job market, the marginal productivity of the members of that group might fall down. So even though on average the productivity, the actual productivity that's coming from the personal characteristics of men and women might be the same, because overcrowding itself might be decreasing the marginal productivity. It might be decreasing it might create kind of a situation which is similar to discrimination, basically. We will continue in the next part.